Hello, Sahil. Thank you for your time this morning for me. This is, I think it's noon it's noon for you, right? In Mumbai.
Yeah,
As I said, you're the first Indian I have on my show. Thank you for joining me. Can you please introduce yourself and to the audience and say who you are, what you do, and maybe why you do it?
right. So, first of all, thank you for having me, and
You're
it's
well
my
welcome.
pleasure to be here. My name is Sahil, though I am better known in the music circles as Demonstealer, which is my stage name. I've been a death metal musician for 22 years now. I play in a band called Demonic Resurrection, and I've had various other projects as well. I've released about 15 albums with these different bands. I've toured across the UK and Europe, played some of the biggest metal festivals like Wacken Open Air.
Wacken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think I am known more today for my YouTube channel, Headbanger's Kitchen, where I do keto diet recipes. And however, that wasn't always the case. I started the channel as a heavy metal cooking show where I would interview bands and cook food for them. But as I got into the keto diet and started making those videos, that's kind of what became popular on my channel. And that's what I got known for. Fast forward a little bit, I actually wrote my first cookbook about a year and a half ago called Keto Life. And I'm also a cookbook author now, I guess.
Hmm.
So, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Okay, so I saw it's like 300 keto recipes. I saw it in Amazon. Um, so the question for me is why keto? What? Uh, I have my own spin on it, and we can talk about it. But why did you? How did you? Let's put it a little bit further. How did you discover keto, and why did you stick with it?
Okay, so I have a bandmate from my comedy rock band called Workshop who was quite overweight. And he basically went online on Reddit and read up about weight loss. And I think he discovered keto through there.
Hmm.
And he basically told me that, look, I'm doing this diet called the keto diet where I eat no carbs and I eat high fat and protein and I lose weight. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. You're going to get a heart attack and die.
Exactly.
I was like, but obviously he didn't listen to me. He did keto and he lost about 30 kilos, which is about, I think, 75 pounds approximately.
Kilos is fine. I'm German, so you
Yeah.
can talk in kilos. I don't know the pounds and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So he lost about 30 kilos. And my wife, who also wanted to lose some weight, and she didn't like exercising, and neither did I. So
Hmm.
she saw him lose 30 kilos without any exercise. And she called him up. She got all the information. She went online. She studied the science because while he had read up on it, he couldn't explain the science
Hmm.
of it to me. Like he just said it, you do this and this happens.
Okay.
So she went, she studied it. She said, I'm starting. I said, you're going to die. You're going to get a heart attack. so, so she did it and she lost about 10 kilos in 3 months. And I was like, yeah, okay. I think maybe I'm going to get onto this keto train. And I started keto. And I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed the food. I enjoyed making cauliflower pizza and zucchini spaghetti, and that's how I got into keto, and that's also why I got into making keto recipe videos, because I was like, I'm eating such interesting food now,
Hmm.
let me make a video and show people how to make this cauliflower pizza. And since then, obviously, I've been researching, learning more, and so on and so forth, and here we are,
Hmm.
4 or 5 years later.
I see. Yeah, that's actually a funny point you just made, because whenever I'm doing keto on and off a little bit. Now with the pandemic, we're in lockdown here in Germany, so it's harder for me because keto for me goes a little bit hand in hand with working out. I'm using it also for sport and stuff, and I'm doing quite. Anyway, we get into this later. My thing is. Funnily. it sounds like so counterintuitive that you eat a lot of fat and all this bad stuff. But I eat much better when I'm really on keto because I check more what I eat. And that I get a lot of veggies and also fiber and stuff. We're gonna talk about this because this is one of the problems with keto. There's not so much fiber usually, but we can see what you do. But the other thing is also you eat much less processed food. Sorry, processed food because you go to the main source of food. You use the whole ingredients. You use eggs and you eat meat and or nuts and whatever. So. Funnily for me, whenever I'm really in keto, I'm kind of doing half of, like breakfast, I'm still having carbohydrates. And then on noon, I still have a little bit of carbohydrates. And then evening, no carbohydrates at all. But this comes from the insulin sensitivity, as you might know. In the morning, your insulin receptors are most sensitive, and then they decline over the day. But anyway, my point is when I'm really on keto, I'm feeling the best. But it's kind of a mental thing to get into it at first, but once you're in, you don't want to you don't want to change anymore. Um, so. So where do we start? Because there's a lot of things.
So I might as well let you know that I'm actually not on keto all the time. In fact,
Okay.
I'm off keto right now, and I've been off keto for a whole year actually. Um,
Really?
because I mean, I'm someone who likes to try different ways of eating. And I also, again, I don't come to keto from the perspective of a nutritionist or a bodybuilder or a sportsman or any of those things. I actually come to this as a food enthusiast. I like to
Okay,
eat good
okay.
food. So
Okay.
even when I was on keto, like if I went on vacation, I would totally like forget keto because I wanted to try the local cuisine. Or especially when I was touring with my band, it's kind of difficult to
I
maintain
understand, yeah.
something like keto on the road. And also, to be very honest, I have not felt those benefits of keto that many people do.
Oh,
Like
okay.
people say, I have extra mental clarity. Obviously, for people who have things like autoimmune diseases and diabetes and blood pressure, etc., for them, keto, I think, works more as a healing diet as well, which makes it more important to them. For me, whether I'm eating carbs or I'm eating keto, I generally feel the same. My biggest problem is if I was to eat junk food, if I overeat, if I drink alcohol, that's when I don't feel good. And
I
that's the
see.
same on keto as well. If I was on keto and I'd go out drinking, next morning I don't feel good.
I see.
And
So,
you also mentioned people eating more, or yourself actually eating more clean foods on keto, so to speak.
yep.
But given the way things are today, I see keto has become just like any other diet with the protein bars and the snack foods and the
Yeah,
packaged
you're
goods.
right.
I mean, the
But you
and I
contributed to it. I checked your link tree, and you have like all these fancy snacks and stuff. So you're also part of a problem too. So it becomes kind of like this.
yeah, but my snacks all make at home kind of snacks. It's not like you buy from this
Yeah. Okay.
because in
I
India,
no processed food kind of.
yeah, because in India keto is still not I think reached the same level it is in say America. So the number of packaged keto foods here are very limited right now. There's maybe one, two companies doing it. There are a lot of people from home doing stuff, but again, when it's someone making something at home from scratch, it's a big difference than it being made in a processing plant where there are thousand things to give it shelf life that is
Yeah.
not there in.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I guess 4 years of doing keto, reading thousands of testimonials of people who have benefited from keto, and also from people who couldn't sustain keto or who tried keto and didn't like it. And I think I take all that in, and my perspective keeps changing as I go forward. um,
Hmm.
and yeah, but I think I've always sort of maintained that there is no one diet fits all, you know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like you said, keto makes you feel really good, you are focused, you eat better. And that was the same thing for me when I started. You know, if I was not doing keto, I had no control.
Hmm.
I would eat the entire house. But but you know, over time, I figured out my stuff, and now even though I'm not on keto, I'm able to control myself. I'm able
Hmm.
to not binge and not go crazy and eat stuff, you know, just because I'm bored and I'm at home, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's, I think weight loss and fitness and nutrition is a kind of lifelong process that you will constantly learn and evolve with as you go along.
Hmm. No, that's a good point. I guess. Um, I mean, what you just said is more you learned impulse control, but this comes with age as well, you know. So you get a little bit better with it, and you know what not to have in the house, so that if you get a a craving, that you don't overeat things or so, or either this you can have better snacks, you know. I mean, if you have snacks like nuts or something, this is also seasoned nuts you can eat, and they fit in keto quite well. Or just what I also figured is kind of keto, and this is something I'm interested in now. But I just gonna make my point. Keto is not something like I you have kind of like a on and off switch in keto. You know, you can kind of force it or not force it, but it's also not like that. You only eat this and this and this, and then you will automatically be in there. There's a process. There's you know, it's said like 50 grams per day carbohydrates, and you get into keto, but it's not like boom, it happens. You know, it's a slow. It's a slow process to get in and out. So even if you're not completely in keto, that you produce ketogenic, you know what I mean, ketos,
Yeah.
that you still can benefit from it. Um, what I'm kind of interested in is if you say that you're kind of on and off it. For me, it always takes like. Depending on how much workout I do, if I empty my glycogen
Glycogen,
repositories
yeah.
in the muscles, um, how long does it take for you to get in? Or you said already you don't have this clarity thing, because I can kind of feel when I'm in ketosis.
Yeah.
You can smell it in your urine as well and stuff.
Yeah.
Where's some things you can. I don't know if you used keto sticks once before or something, but
Yeah.
I kind of know when I'm in. And once I'm in, I know like I can eat at least like 2 or 3 days. I can eat carbohydrates without getting kicked out. But after this, I'm because when there is this in and out thing, even if I said there is this slope, it's not. So how do you deal with that? Do you have this that you know when you're in or
Yeah. So I mean, I basically get a version of the keto flu where I get a bit depressed and I
yeah.
feel like
Hmm.
I want to quit doing everything in life. Like, you know, I'm going to disband my band. I'm going to shut down my YouTube channel. And that's kind of how I knew that I'm transitioning into keto.
Hmm.
And I mean, also, yeah, you know, I've had the keto breath. I've felt like just like lack of energy till I sort of get into ketosis, and then I'm okay. I can do things as normal, and life
Hmm.
is fine, you know. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing keto over the last year, because I didn't like the process of
Hmm.
constantly going in and out of it, you know. So if I do get back to keto now, I'm going to commit to it, obviously, you know, like
Hmm.
at least 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you know, because otherwise it's pointless if you do like 10, 15 days and then you like, okay, I eat some carbs, and then again you're restarting the process, you know. So it's
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that's what kind of became more pointless for me, which is why also I I I did the shift to low carb, because low carb is not really about putting your body in the state of ketosis. It's just
But
keeping the carbs down.
you're kind of in, yeah, exactly. But you're still kind of on the threshold of it, you know. So you get the
Yeah.
benefits a little bit from the ketosis, but also you're not in ketosis, but you're close by.
Yeah, and I think low carb also, I think for everyone, it gives you a little more flexibility. So tomorrow, if I have an apple, it's still low carb. I mean, I can have an apple. I probably can't go and eat a pizza and say I'm low carb.
No.
But if I have an apple, a little bit of watermelon, if you add a few more fruits in, it's still lower carb than if you were eating rice and bread and, uh, you know, wraps or tortillas with every single meal.
But it's
You
also,
know,
it's also this is fructose, and this is also different than rice and bread
yeah,
or something, where you have like normal carbohydrates, and
yeah,
so I mean there's a difference as well because fructose is different from other sucralose, and anyway, I don't want to get into too much. It's a
yeah.
long time for me that I learned this also. I'm not claiming that I know so much. But I get your point. But see, this is the benefit I see with doing sports on it as well, because you have a bird somewhere, huh? You have a little
Yeah,
bird.
no, no, this, I live here, so
Oh, this is beautiful. Oh man, this is Mumbai,
yeah,
and you're living in such a nice place. You're
I
on the outside of
on the
Mumbai or what?
beach.
On the
No,
beach.
I'm actually just on. So Mumbai is an island. Basically, it's three sides water. So I've got one side of the water
Okay.
next to me.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Man, this is a nice look. This is a nice outlook. You
yeah,
might be quite must be quite a. Anyway, my point was that's the benefit for me, at least as I see it, doing sports, because I. Of course, I want to have some sweet stuff as well once in a while, and it would throw off my keto. But if I take it before the workout, I kind of,
yeah.
in
You
my
burn
head,
through it.
exactly,
Yeah,
I kind of think I burn it all, and sometimes I even feel it. When I had some chocolate or something, where I had a craving, and then you push it and you do some really heavy stuff, and then
yeah,
you're done, and you don't throw off keto. So,
yeah.
but you don't do
Yeah, a
any.
lot of guys do this actually. A lot of bodybuilders and stuff do things like this. I've heard of carb loading
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that. There are a couple of other YouTubers who I follow, so I've seen people do all this. Again, I'm like I said, I'm not really a bodybuilder or a sports guy, so none of these things ever made sense in what I was doing. You know, like I said, I come to this as a chef, as a cook, as a food lover more than anything else.
No,
All the other
that's
stuff
very interesting.
like learning about keto and teaching people how to calculate macros and understanding the mechanics of why something works. That's more because there are people following me, and I try and give them my perspective on things rather than try and be like an online guru of keto. And the thing is, I don't sell keto. Let me just put it that way. I have recipes you can watch, and I want my recipes to be tasty, even if you're not doing keto. Uh, I have a keto cookbook, and if you buy that book, I'm not promising you anything except delicious food. You know, and I don't have diet plans. I don't have workout or nutrition things to sell you. I don't have any affiliate programs with like exogenous ketones or keto products. So for me, I look at myself as a resource for people who need keto recipes and information, explained in a simple, easy manner. And one of the things I always tell people is, before you start keto, ask yourself why you want to do keto, you know, and ask yourself, can you do keto? Does it make sense in your lifestyle? Because it's important. Like I said, every person has a different diet that's going to work for them. You found keto, I found keto for a while, then I forgot about keto, and I'm now doing something totally different. So I think people have to find out what works for them, because like for a lot of Indians, I've seen it. They'll do keto because they think it's some magic diet and they will lose weight quickly, and then they go back and they'd rebound from the diet, and it's
Mm-hmm.
yo-yo dieting
The yo-yo
basically, you know.
effect again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, you spent 3 months losing 10 kilos and you put it back in the next 3 months. You know, you literally wasted 6 months of your life
Mm-hmm.
getting neither here nor there, you know. In
Exactly.
fact, if they had eaten the food they liked, just lowered the quantity a little bit, exercised a bit more, they may have lost half the weight, but they would be able to keep the weight off because
Mm-hmm.
they were doing something sustainable, you know.
Exactly.
And i
No,
think
that's a
i
good
think
point.
that's where, yeah, I think that's where I'm going personally as a whatever person with an opinion.
Mm-hmm. No,
My
it's
opinion
fine.
is
Mm-hmm.
is more about people finding what is sustainable for them
Mm-hmm.
rather than jumping into something that is way too extreme and that they're going to rebound from, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in a way, in a way, you are kind of built wrong for me. Then, I mean, not wrong in a sense. You know, I mean, I get what you're doing, and I find it's very interesting that you come from a chef perspective. You know, that you want to make good food and delicious food, and you know, I checked your pizza, and it looks great, and I was like, you know, my mouth watering, drooling as I watched it. So. What do I want to say? But oh, I lost. So this is interesting, but mhm. um, anyway, I forgot what I wanted to say. Um, but can you maybe tell how you also, no. My problem I have now is kind of you kind of build like the keto, you know, the headbanger, how you call your channel again? Sorry,
Headbangers Kitchen.
Headbanger's Kitchen. Exactly. I want to always put a hell in there. Headbanger's Hell Kitchen. Headbanger's Hell Kitchen. Um, um, no, so in a way, your channel is kind of uh, named wrong, or I perceive it just as a keto channel. Um, was it so? You need to kind of rephrase it a little bit or something because I was under the wrong impression, to be honest, that you're just keto. I mean, I'm completely get you, and I think you have the
Yeah.
right approach. That it's you spread out, basically you're spreading the word, you know, eat whatever you are sustainable, what's good for you, and I mean good food doesn't matter if it's keto or it's not keto or it's low carb or it could be even high carb if it's a good you know, organic maybe food. So are you planning to change your channel a little bit or?
No, so actually, technically the name started like Headbangers Kitchen, which
Mhm.
is nothing to do with keto,
Yeah, no,
you know.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
So it's me doing heavy metal uh cooking with, you know, yeah, with awesome metal bands.
Mhm.
And as the channel grew and as, you know, I started doing keto recipes, the audience that followed my channel was largely a keto audience. And you know, it's at nearly 600,000 subscribers now.
Mhm.
So that is a lot of people, and I would say 90% of it has followed me because of my keto recipes. So I don't plan to change anything about the channel because the channel is still going to be putting up keto recipes, you know.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, I have a separate channel where I do things that are not keto. So if I want to try, you know, a different diet, like say, I want to eat pizza for a week and see if I can lose weight, you know,
Okay.
I'll
Try.
do it on that channel. Yeah, you know, I'll do it on that channel.
Mhm.
So for example, right now I'm on a chicken broccoli rice diet where I'm making the tastiest chicken broccoli rice you can ever eat, you
Mhm.
know. So I put that video on my other channel, which is called Headbanger Eats.
Okay.
But on Headbanger's Kitchen, I only post keto recipes. So I'm still making
Okay. Okay.
recipes. I'm
Okay.
still I'm still doing educational videos about keto. So if someone wants to know, can I drink alcohol on keto, I'll
Mhm.
still make a video and talk about that. You
Mhm.
know, but like the only difference is, and this is something actually that's been true to my channel from day one.
Mhm.
Even when I was doing keto, I never forced people to be keto. And I never said that keto is the only good diet in the world,
I know,
like
I know.
I never said that keto, you have to eat keto or you're going to like be in trouble. No, I was always like, keto is my thing at this point, and if you are looking for keto recipes or resources, I'm here to give you the information, but I'm not here to tell you to eat a particular food or to not do something. If you ask me, I'll give you my opinion, but I'm not going to be the guy saying eat keto or you will die.
It's good that you say this because I have been this guy in the past, as I discovered keto for myself. I mean, this is like 20 years ago now. And I was like, oh man, this is so life changing and everyone has to do keto. Keto is the only thing. And, I wanted to have disciples and, convert everyone to keto. So I know where you're coming from. But now I'm kind of like, do whatever you want, and it comes with age a little bit as well, so that you kind of,
Yeah.
get more relaxed with it.
Yes.
So maybe can you give me or give us a little bit more of your backstory? So how do you come to cook? I mean, you already said you cooked for metal bands, but do you have a cooking background? Did you learn something in this direction? So just can you elaborate a little
Yeah.
bit where you're coming from?
Yeah. So I don't have any formal training in the culinary arts, but I did love to eat good food as a child.
Okay.
And because of that, I did like to cook as well. So I started cooking fairly young. Like I think I was 10 years old when I started cooking. And I wanted to actually become a chef, and I wanted to open my own restaurant. And this was back when I was in maybe the seventh grade, and we had the option of taking different hobbies in school. So we had an extra curricular activities where you could choose, dancing or music or cooking or art
Or
or painting.
heavy
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah, so I decided to take cooking as a hobby in school, and I was quite set on being a chef, and that was my career path at that point. But towards the end of school, I kind of got more into computers because this was like the mid 90s, and desktop computers had just kind of come to India. And we would go across from my school and check out these computers in the shops and things like that. And I was very fascinated with that. And I had a cousin who had just become a computer engineer. So I was like, you know what? I want to be a computer engineer. So that happened. And the moment I left school, that was the time I was into heavy metal. And suddenly all the other dreams went out the window. And I was like, I want to be a death metal musician. This is my career. This is my calling. And then I spent the rest of my life till today still trying to be a metal musician. But I never stopped cooking because food is something I guess you always have to eat, right?
Yep, of course.
So I continued to cook. In fact, when I used to organize concerts in Bombay, and bands would come to play those shows from other cities, I would have them stay over and I would make omelets for them for breakfast. And my cooking got quite a reputation because of that. So I think it was 2007 that Facebook happened in India, and I started posting like recipes on my Facebook because I was making food and I had got my first camera phone. So that's how I started blogging about food. And then around 2010, my band made our first music video. And also at this time, YouTube was becoming popular in India. Um, we were getting broadband connections here, so everyone could watch YouTube. And I started watching some cooking videos, and I was like really inspired by them. And I asked the guy who directed the music video, I said, look, can you film my cooking? And I want to upload it to YouTube. Will you film it? And he said, yeah, I can film it, but just a cooking video sounds very boring. So can we make something more about it? Like make it interesting. So I brainstormed, and we came up with Headbanger's Kitchen, the heavy metal cooking show. So I would cook a dish, I would name it after the band, I would interview that band, and then they would taste the food. And that's how Headbanger's Kitchen started.
Okay, so it was kind of, I mean, now today, we are in an age where you have a whole cooking channel and stuff, so there would not anything new would be needed to add in there, people would just watch it
Yeah.
to kind of, there's like food porn out there and stuff, completely different, got off the rails, the whole thing. Yeah, but this is interesting. So maybe let's talk about also your music, because you're a musician as well. So, and you still
Yeah.
are, right? So you're still
Yes.
active, um, and you do death metal. What do you do in your band?
Yeah, so I have, well, right now I have only two active projects. One is my solo material under my stage name Demonstealer, which is, it's, you could say, death metal, but it covers a broad spectrum of death metal, from technical to brutal to sometimes extremely melodic as well. It's got a mix of death metal vocals with actual singing in it as well. And then you've got my band Demonic Resurrection, which completed 20 years last year.
Wow,
Um, yeah,
congratulations.
in that, yeah, thank you. In that band, I sing and play guitar, and I also, I mean, I basically write pretty much all the music there. And that, yeah, that's what I do in that band. And in my solo project, on the last EP, I played all the instruments, so drums, vocals, bass, guitar. But on previous albums, I had lots of guest musicians like George Colliers from the band Nile. He played drums on one album. Then I had Krim from Septic Flesh. I had Kevin Paradis from Benighted,
Wow.
Romain Goulon from Necrophagist, like a whole array of musicians across those albums. So those are the two projects that I'm currently working on.
Okay, so how's the metal scene in India? Before our talk, I was like, what Indian bands do I know? And the only one I know is Bloodywood, and I guess you heard of them too. They were quite vocal with their, they played in Wacken and stuff. So, and I like their style, but it's kind of the only one that comes to mind when I think of India.
Yeah.
So how is the Indian scene, metal, death metal scene?
Yeah, so the scene is still quite small. We've always had Western music in India, obviously because of the British. So, you know, in the 60s and 70s, jazz, pop, that kind of music, rock music was all prevalent in India, and there were bands playing music as well. So we've had music since Western music since way back then. And I think it was in the 80s when the first metal bands kind of popped up in India. There was a band called Postmark and one called Millennium. But they were, I guess, because it was not the age of technology like it is now, they didn't spread far and wide. And also in India, metal is kind of a sort of richer person's music, because, only people who speak English were listening to Western music, and most people who spoke English are sort of well-to-do middle-class people. That's the kind of sort of social thing that exists in India, and that's how it's been even today, largely. So um, they had those bands, but largely the local scenes were all cover bands, and it was only in the late 90s, early 2000s that bands started writing their own music. In fact, they would play a 10-song set list from which three songs would be their own and the rest would be covers. And it took about, I think, a good 5, 6, 7 years of just forcing the audience to accept original music from the local bands. Like, when we played our stuff, we got bottles, stones, all sorts of stuff thrown at us. Yeah,
Really?
you know,
Okay.
yeah. Like, in fact, I mean, we were also not the best band, and also in India, that, yeah, at that point, you
Okay.
see, all all Western music was clubbed together. So there was Bollywood music on one hand, there was classical music, and then there was English Western music. So this would be grunge, metal, pop, anything that was not Bollywood or Indian classical music was in one space. So, you would have a festival where a death metal band would be playing with a punk band with a pop rock band. So the audience also was not all like metalheads in one place, you know. Those would be smaller shows in clubs that we would organize ourselves. So it took a long time for that to actually split, where there is an actual metal scene where, you know, only metal bands play, and there's a metal festival dedicated for metal bands and things like that. So that took a long time. Very few metal bands had played in India before Iron Maiden came in 2007. Like, you know, almost maybe, and even the bands that played before Iron Maiden were like unheard of. Like they would play to 200, 300 people. There was Singaporean band Rudra that came down. So prior to Iron Maiden, I mean, you'd get like Deep Purple and Jethro Tull and bands like that, but never anything heavier. So once Iron Maiden came down, then more and more bands started to come to India, and pretty much every major band has played here at some point now. So it's a small scene that's evolving. I would say right now the problem with the scene is there are too many bands and
Okay.
not enough audience members. Because here's the other thing: in India, the audience for metal is a very young audience. You know, for most people, metal is like this phase they go through in college.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Okay,
16,
the rebellious
six,
phase and whatever.
yeah. So 16 to 24 is the major chunk of the audience. And every 5 years, like, they vanish, you know. And very few of them are actually still around coming to shows. So that's something that we hope to see change in the coming years. Like, you know, metal become more of a lifestyle, and more people still listen to it once they've gotten out of college and, you know, get married and get a job or whatever else that they do. So yeah, that's the scene in a nutshell here.
It's really I mean it's quite different from Europe or Germany, because you know here the rock scene is kind of older, you could say. I mean, you have a young guys, you know, you have metalcore and all this stuff, and you know, and gent and what's in, you know, I'm a little bit older too, so I'm not following the scene so much. But usually you have older people listening to metal here. You know, you have a very, and that's also a good thing for the metal guys, for the bands, because they have money and they buy albums.
Yes.
You know,
The merch,
you know,
yeah.
exactly. You have, you know, today you have Spotify and stuff. You need, I don't know, 1 million streams to get you know, the money for a CD or something. So. That's actually the audience, so it's quite different. And also, what you said before is, from my perspective, because I'm a little bit, you know, for me, your music is more fringe for my personal taste, because I'm, you know, I'm a radio DJ as well, and I'm more into kind of gothic rock, dark wave, and industrial metal. That's kind of my things.
Yeah.
And you know, death metal kind of plays into it. I like it, not all the time, but you know, there's things. You know, there are overlapping things.
Yeah.
And what you said before, as you know, in India, that everything was lumped into one kind of category, you know, pop music and metal and punk, and what everything was one. In a way, I like. I would have maybe liked this approach, because I like when you know, you kind of. Genre bend things, you know, that I don't know about you. You can give me your perspective, because sometimes I hate it when I talk with people here. Oh, this is no true death metal because this is not that and this is not that. And I'm like, okay, so if everyone thinks like that, you will have never new genres or new things evolving. There would be no metalcore. There would be no, I don't know. We would still play blues rock, you
Yeah.
know, basically.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, in a way, it could have been a nice melting pot in India, you know, where you kind of get all this stuff together, and you know, you have this mixed audience who maybe wanted to see the pop music and discovered metal. So yeah. Anyway, I like this genre. Maybe what's your take on it? That, you know, the true metal thing.
Yeah.
I hate this true, because what is true? You know, I mean, make the music you
Yeah.
like. Everything is fine here.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on this. We call them the elitist
Yeah,
metalheads
exactly.
who
Elitist.
think that, I mean, I get that somebody likes only death metal and likes a certain kind and wants to listen to that. That's fine.
Each to their own,
But
like with food,
yeah,
find what you like and
yeah,
what's good for you, and that's fine.
yeah. But saying this is the way death metal has to be, and if it's
Yeah.
not this, it's not death metal. Yeah, I don't get that attitude as well. The thing is, we still do have festivals like that in India where they do have a melting pot of different genres because uh, it has grown. So, like, for example, now all the bands that were playing, say, pop music are now you've got regional pop music, where people are singing in their local languages.
Hmm.
You've got electronica has branched out into so many different kinds of electronica. So there are still some festivals that kind of cater to mixing the electronica, the pop, the funk, the jazz, the blues, everything together.
Hmm.
But metal is always like the stepchild, and I think that's why metalheads like you know like I think only one of the major festivals that are there in India now actually has a metal stage.
Hmm.
you know so I think that's also one of the reasons why metalheads are often very particular about things, because they're often treated as like the stepchild or the
Hmm.
unloved child.
Hmm.
So I mean, I see it from both perspectives, yeah, but I don't agree with the whole this is true and everything else is false and dead to posers and all that.
Hmm.
you know yeah, I don't get that.
But by the way, just something popped in my head, because you also put it on your Instagram, and I'm an atheist myself as well. I have been very, I brought up very religious. I was on my way to become a pastor once, so
Oh wow.
the pendulum swung quite in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
No, I'm kind of in the middle now, but. What I'm just thinking is, because for me, India is kind of a very religious country still. I mean, in Western society, I mean, they always call, God and fatherland and whatever. There's a lot of talk about deities and believing in God and whatever,
Yeah.
especially United States. But as you know, they're quite secular and they're not really that into it anymore. But for me, India seems to be more religious. And what I just thought, as you were talking about it, is with a stepchild of metal, because I can imagine, and you can maybe shed some light on here, that because of all this, you call your band demonic, what was it, demonic resurrection
Resurrection.
and
Yeah.
stuff, exactly, and you're the Demonstealer, and so this images of occult images and stuff, that they are maybe also. Not liked by the public by that, and get a little bit a bad rap.
Yeah. So not really. Here's the thing. So India has a large Hindu population.
Hmm.
The Christian community is quite small.
Hmm.
So, and the Christian community here is not very vocal or aggressive. So Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists are all the minority in India.
Hmm.
So if you see in any country, the minorities are never vocal about anti-religious stuff.
Hmm.
They're not. They just not, because it's dangerous for them. Uh, so I we only had a problem once in India when a festival organizer put up a poster in a state that has a largely Christian community. He did get some complaints about it, but his show was cancelled more because of drugs than
Ah,
of the
okay.
band name.
Hmm.
So in India, it's actually very, very complicated, the religious situation, because so demonic resurrection really means nothing, first of all, to a normal person in India who's either Hindu or Muslim.
Hmm.
First of all, most of unless you're an English speaking person in India, you don't even
Ah,
understand what
okay,
it
okay,
means.
okay, okay. Yeah, you're right. With
You know,
English speaking, you said it before. It's kind of more the
yeah,
upper class will
yeah,
understand it more. I see.
yeah.
I
So
see. Hmm.
so that's the first thing. Second of all, the Christians here are, again, like I said, they are very peaceful. Like, I think the only time they created a problem was when Slayer's Christ Illusion album was dropped. And when I say created a problem, I mean one guy wrote a letter to the record label saying, I don't like this. And they actually pulled that album from the shelves because they were worried about somebody vandalizing the office. So, because in India, if you upset the Hindus, the religious Hindus, and you actually reach the extremist, they will come and break property. They will, like, they get violent. Like India had a lot of religious violence. In fact, we just at the beginning of 2020, there was riots in the capital Delhi, and I'm going to try not get into that because it's
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Please,
even
please
know. I
don't
don't
tell
even know.
me anything like what I still told you before. I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, no,
You
I
know.
won't get into trouble. The problem is it is so difficult to explain, and it would take me an hour long to just kind of break it down for you. But what I'm trying to say is, unless you are doing something that offends the majority of the country, which is the Hindu population, and it is done in a mainstream situation. So if you're like doing a Bollywood movie, you know, where you have something that can trigger the religious extremists, nothing you do is going to affect. So there is a black metal band in India that has done some anti-Hindu, anti-Muslim, like basically
Every
anti-religion.
every auntie
Yeah,
thing.
every anti-religion, and it's not necessarily like a screw your god kind of thing, but it's a very thought out sort of argument against what you're doing. But nobody cares about it. Not one person from one religion cares because that band has hardly any listeners.
I
you know
see.
so that's the thing. Like, if I went and did a metal concert and I said some shit on stage, nobody would really care. But if a comedian goes on stage, like there's a female comedian who went on stage and said something, and it wasn't even really offensive, but like the Hindu extremists went and vandalized the venue that she did the comedy thing in, and they started giving her death and rape threats.
Okay.
So you see and literally it was not, sorry, it wasn't about God. It was, oh my God, it was about a Maratha king. So the political party that's there in the city of Bombay, that is the losing one. They are basically not winning any seats. They went and did this to stir up controversy or whatever. So basically, long story short, unless it's in a popular field that you say something that could be triggering, nobody cares. So nothing will happen. So you could call your band dead to Christ also, or dead to Allah, or dead to Ram, and nobody would care unless it became popular.
I see. So stay underground as much as you can. Um,
Yeah.
you also said that you also toured Europe with one of your bands, and so how did this happen, and where did you play everywhere? I mean, just give us a little overview
Yeah.
of your experience.
Yeah, sure. So we've basically been playing outside India since about 2010. Uh, we would write to festivals across Europe every year, like do you have a slot? We'd love to play. Would you be interested in booking us? And we'd send them music, and we were very lucky that in 2009 we got booked for Brutal Assault in the Czech Republic, a killer festival.
I know it.
But our
Yeah.
drum, yeah, but our drummer didn't have a passport.
Oh,
So
idiot.
I know, but very luckily for us, he got a passport, and the festival said you can play next year. So we had Brutal Assault Festival, and also there was a tie-up between Norway and India. So we got booked for the Inferno Festival in Norway. And in 2010, we went and played both those festivals. And all I can say, it was like a dream come true for us.
I can
I mean,
imagine.
for metalheads in India who have been seeing Inferno Festival videos since we were like 18 or 19 years old, because Inferno started around the same time the band started. And we were seeing all these clips on online of Dimmu Borgir playing at Inferno and Emperor and all these incredible bands, and we were like, man, one day, and we're literally on that same stage saying, holy shit, we're here, we're playing the same festival. And I guess after that, we just kept writing to festivals, to booking agents, to anyone who would help us get a show outside India. And we were able to sign with a booking agency in the UK, and they organized 3 tours for us there. So, yeah, I mean, just email after email after email, every
So
year
so you
writing
all
100 emails.
did it yourself. So you had no
Yeah,
label or no booking. I mean,
no.
now you have a booking agent. Um,
Oh, no, we don't have a booking agent anymore
oh,
because we've had, well, some good experiences and some
okay.
bad, but
Don't tell me anything what I shouldn't know. I mean, don't.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to get
So
you in
we were
trouble.
with we were also with the record label Candlelight Records for 2 years, for two
Mm-hmm.
albums actually.
Mm-hmm.
But the label was, I mean, we were a small band on a label, so they they tried to help us, but we weren't able to get much out of them in terms of booking shows. They did help us book Bloodstock Festival in the UK, but beyond that, we weren't able to make like any big tours happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
supporting a big artist or something like that. So yeah, we've had labels, we've had booking agents. Right now, we're completely independent.
Mm-hmm. And how is this going for you? I mean, this is the good thing and the bad thing of this day and
Yeah,
age. You can do everything yourself, but I'm sometimes I'm a radio DJ, and I get also a lot of not so good music because everyone can make music on his phone today, and send it wherever we want. That's cool, but it's uncool. I mean, it's kind of it's
yeah.
a double-edged sword. So how you're holding up?
So for us, it's been really good because being independent, we were able to crowd fund the last album we did. So we had a Indiegogo campaign, a pledge music actually at that time, and we were able to raise about $4,000 for the recording, which was
Wow.
great for us. We were able to then get it mastered by who we wanted. We were able to get great artwork done. So that's the benefit of it. Honestly, because I won't say I've had like this, like being on a label didn't change the world for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been as good being independent. you know I think for us, we would like to have a booking agent. That is the main thing that we require, and we are still looking. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to still try and find an agent this year, so that we can perhaps in 2022 get out and tour Europe once again. you
Mm-hmm.
know but
Mm-hmm.
if we don't find an agent, I'll do something myself. One
Yeah,
way or another, it has to happen.
yeah, and also you seem to have also the you can you have how you say you can say, okay, I already played there and we did this and that. There might be some live footage, and this is how we
Yeah,
how we are on stage, and also here in Europe, like I said, with Bollywood, sorry, Bloodywood, you are also a kind of not. You're a little bit, how you say, exotic.
no.
You're a little bit an exotic kind of, oh, that's the guys from India, and let's see what we
Yeah,
can do. And so you have also this bonus coming
yeah,
for you as well, especially, I guess,
yeah.
in the Bloodstock festival. No, okay, not there so much, but in Finland. I forgot what was the name in Finland.
No, brutal assault, and we didn't play in Finland yet.
No, no, but you
We
played in.
played brutal assault in Czech Republic,
Okay, but
and
didn't.
also Metal Days in Slovenia, also Wacken, Inferno Festival in Norway.
In Norway, sorry, I always get, for me, I lump these
Yeah.
countries together. So sorry. So and you also played Wacken.
Yes, we played
Wacken
Wacken
is
in
is, is the greatest one in the world. So I mean, you're done. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. You have already.
Yeah,
You can say, okay, we played Wacken, and if
yeah,
we played Wacken, we can play everywhere, right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
so
yeah.
how did Wacken happen? Also through an agent, or did you just write a lot of emails again?
Well, so Wacken was a mixture of things. I did write some emails, but also Wacken is tied up with this festival in India called Bangalore Open Air,
Mm-hmm.
and Bangalore Open Air also does the Wacken Metal Battle for India. So they have been sending bands to Wacken since 2011, I think.
Okay.
And through that, I met someone from Wacken as well. So they did know who I was. So I was able to connect with them on email and make something happen.
Okay, cool, cool. And because I'm usually going for an hour, and we're almost reaching one now. Um, so I have. Do you have any nice stories from the road? From touring. Funny stuff. What happened on stage, off stage? I mean, only things that you want to share, of course.
Well, well, the funniest thing that actually happened was we had this. We had a short tour with this thrash metal band called Onslaught in the UK.
Hmm.
It was a very last minute thing. It's so incredible how that tour happened. We had 5 shows booked in the UK, and we were in the UK, and we were playing Wacken that year. So there was actually 20 days between our last show in the UK and Wacken. So
Oh.
we were going to spend
Hmm.
like a holiday in the UK.
Okay.
And when we landed in the UK, I got a mail from Onslaught saying, "We have a tour going out just as soon as you finish yours. Our opening band is not coming. So do you want to do the tour?" And for us, it was a huge opportunity because they were on a nightliner and they were doing like big venues.
Hmm.
So I was like, game on, we're doing it. So we go and we meet them at the first show venue. We set up, we do sound check. It is the best sounding sound check we've done that whole tour. It's amazing. The show is about to start, and this was show was packed from the first band. So we have a full audience there. We get our intro music playing. We get on the stage. The intro music ends, and I am about to shout. I start each set with saying, "The Demon King will rise," and then we start the song. And I
Okay.
scream into the mic, and there's no sound.
Oh.
And I'm just standing there looking at the audience, tapping the mic. Okay, ta-da, no sound. Sound engineer comes running, checking the mic, and I'm just standing there joking with the people in the first row. And then finally, the mic starts, and we start the set. So that was quite hilarious to have that awkward moment,
Hmm. Hmm.
on
Okay,
stage.
yeah. This is nightmare kind of stuff here. I talked with
Yeah,
another band who kind of where they had a power surge on stage and everything broke, and so they had to use different equipment, and I mean we still got through it, but it was
yeah,
not their sound, and they
yeah.
didn't feel at
That is
home
the
at all.
worst. That is the worst.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So any starstruck moments as you were on tour, or on these big festivals, that you meet somebody where like like a little fanboy, something,
Yeah.
some people you met.
Inferno Festival, the first time that first year, I mean, I don't think any of us had like our jaws were dropped throughout the festival. Like at Inferno, we saw Isan, we saw Mayhem, we were just and Brutal Assault was even crazier because there was Cannibal Corpse, there was Meshuggah, there was uh, I mean, there was Gene Hoglan, there was Fear Factory, there was Children of Boredom. I mean, we were just like the jaw was dropped throughout the entire festival. And we were just like little fanboys taking pictures with everybody. I literally think every band must have been like, "Did you meet those crazy Indian guys backstage?" They were just like running around with their cameras trying to get a picture with us.
Hmm.
So yeah,
But
it was
yeah,
quite
like like
starstruck.
like
Like,
like little kids in a candy store or something, like-
yeah,
but it's I mean that's also your benefit, because you are the foreigners, or you're kind of the exotic ones, so you can get
yeah,
get get away with things easier,
yeah,
because I lived abroad as well, and sometimes when we kind of realize that you're not from there and you have an accent, or whatever, you can get away with other things, so it's easier to
yeah.
to stumble into something and things. Yeah, so Sahil, thank you very much for your time and for your openness. I mean, we got from keto to
Keto too.
music. Um, um, I don't know if it's if you think I can send you the link to my radio show and to my playlist if you think that you have some fitting music, because I'm more like, gothic and
Yeah,
industrial metal. That's kind of my thing. But if you have something that you might fit, I'm happy to support and give you a shout out
awesome.
for your music. Yeah, and anyway, thank you very much for your time. It was
Thank
really
you for
nice
having me.
nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks. And I learned something about Mumbai that I didn't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm an idiot. There's so many
nah, it's fine.
things you could know, but I didn't know about
Yeah,
Mumbai.
there's
Is
too much knowledge.
Yeah,
There's
I
too many
mean,
things to know. It's not possible. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
we could talk about this for hours, because I think
yeah.
it's in one way, we have Wikipedia and all the knowledge is there, but this
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you really know it. It's kind of
Yes.
you still have to use it and to process it. I I.
Yeah.
I can tell you stories. I lived abroad
Yeah.
and I talked with some Chinese people, and I didn't even know how big China was. I was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
I was really
It's
stupid. Anyway, so
that's
um, so just one, and you don't have to answer this. One more personal question. So you're doing well, despite the pandemic and things are going on.
yes.
Okay.
I've been very lucky, that my job is making YouTube videos. So
Okay.
my life hasn't really changed much. I work from home since the last 3 years. I
Hmm.
shoot the videos in my kitchen, and in India, all said and done, things are very easy to access now because we've got so many delivery apps and things. So, I can just order groceries from home. So, things have literally barely changed for me during the pandemic. And I've been very, very lucky. So, extremely grateful for that.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that
Good.
really hasn't affected me negatively in any way. So,
Good to know.
extremely, extremely grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just heard in the news, that India is starting the vaccination process, and there's some
Yeah.
anyway, there's some stuff, back and forth there. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. So, thank you for your time. Yeah. Any last words to the audience?
Well, just thank you for listening to me jibber jabber for an hour on the podcast. And yeah, definitely, if you like death metal, check out my music. If you're looking for keto recipes, check out my YouTube channel.
I will
And if
link.
you
I will
want
link to this in the description.
yeah,
Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and if you want non-keto stuff, you can check out my other channel, Headbanger Eats. And I hope you enjoy all the content that I'm putting out.
Okay. Thank you very much.